The Lamentation, the masterpiece of Giotto de Bandoni, presented by Diana Colvin. Giotto de Bandoni, known as Giotto or Giotis, was an Italian painter and architect from Florence in the late Middle Ages. Giotto has been considered the first in a line of great artists who contributed to the Italian Renaissance, while some scholars even regard him as the first Renaissance painter. The later 16th century biographer Giorgio Vasari commented on Giotto, saying, "He made a decisive break with the Byzantine style and brought to life the great art of painting as we know it today, introducing the technique of drawing accurately from life, which had been neglected for more than 200 years. Most of Giotto's life was undocumented. Great controversy still exists around Giotto's birth date, his birthplace, his appearance, his apprenticeship, and the sources of his style. However, one thing is for certain. As Giotto's contemporary Giovanni Villani puts it, Giotto was the most sovereign master of painting in his time. He drew all his figures and their postures according to nature, and he was given a salary by the commune of Florence in virtue of his talent and excellence." Giotto was able to develop his own style of painting. He moved away from Byzantine techniques and was unique for his time. Giotto introduced a new sense of naturalism. He focused on the quality of realness in art. He was the first to observe humans and reproduce their gestures, expressions, and movement in art. Giotto's most treasured masterwork is the decoration of the Arena Chapel, located in Padua, Italy. This masterpiece was completed sometime around 1305 and was commissioned by a wealthy man by the name of Enrico Scruvini. Enrico was a successful banker. Usury, which is a charging of interest for a loan, was considered to be a sin to the church. Some believe Enrico's motivation for building the chapel and having it decorated by Giotto was to atone for the sin that he committed. Commissioning works of art for churches was a way of doing good works, which the church believed would help you earn your place in heaven. The chapel is on the site of an ancient Roman arena. Only parts of the arena still exist. As we take a look inside, we see that the frescoes reveal a depiction of the life of Virgin Mary and the life of Christ. A lot of people were illiterate at the time, so listening to priest sermons and viewing these religious-style frescoes was just another way of earning your place in heaven. In Giotto's fresco cycles, he accomplished 38 framed scenes, presenting one of the most impressive and complete Christian pictorial cycles ever rendered. The narrative unfolds on the north and south walls in 3 zones, reading from top to bottom. The chapel's vaulted ceiling is blue, dotted with golden stars symbolic of heaven. Giotto painted the same blue color in the background of the narrative panels and the walls below. The color acts as a unifying agent for the entire decorative scheme. That brings us to the Lamentation. The Lamentation is found in the panel in the lowest zone of the north wall. This is one of the most powerful pieces in the chapel. Christ was crucified and taken down off the cross and is now being mourned by his mother and his disciples. The word lamentation comes from the Greek word lamnet, which means to grieve. Giotto was able to depict the feelings on the faces of these characters. Christ is positioned off-center, cradled by his mother's arms. This reminds me of an earlier painting done by Giotto. With an analogy, it's a tender moment reflecting the birth of Christ. Mary reaches out for her son, and it's a joyous time. But now in the Lamentation, Mary is in complete despair. Look how Christ, his mother, the disciples, and the angels all have halos above their heads to signify that they are spiritual forms. Christ's feet are being held by Mary Magdalene, which is a sign of submission and respect for Christ. Toward the top of the painting, about halfway through, I noticed a break in color. I view this as a separation between the earthly realm and the heavens above. As we look above in the heavenly realm, we have 10 flying angels. Even the angels are crying. Look at their faces. They are mourning. Perhaps this was to show how tragic Christ's death really was. Giotto paved way for a new style of painting. He created a world that was three-dimensional, voluminous, and symbolic. His style is devoted to naturalism. He was no doubt talented and contributed to the early works of art history. Giotto was a true visionary.